What if the pain you've been through didn't just wound you? What if it wired you differently? Most people think intelligence is measured by grades, IQ scores, or how fast you can solve a problem. But there's a kind of intelligence that no classroom creates, no test captures it, and most people who have it don't even recognize it in themselves because it was forged in the hardest moments of their lives. It's called traumatic intelligence, and today we're going to talk about the 10 signs that you carry it. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel is about understanding yourself at a deeper level, the psychology, the patterns, the hidden strengths that most people overlook. Today's topic is one that I think will genuinely shift how you see yourself, because traumatic intelligence isn't about glorifying suffering. It's about recognizing that certain people who've been through real darkness, develop a rare cognitive and emotional depth that most others simply never access. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. You read rooms instantly. You walk into a space, a party, a meeting, a family dinner, and within seconds, you know. You can feel the tension between two people before a single word is spoken. You notice the forced smile, the tight jaw, the way someone's laugh doesn't quite reach their eyes. This isn't a party trick. This is a survival skill that got hardwired into you. When you grew up in or lived through an unpredictable environment, your nervous system learned to scan for danger constantly. You became an expert at reading microexpressions, body language, and emotional undercurrents. What looks like social intuition to others is actually years of emotional training compressed into a reflex. You don't just observe people, you decode them. Sign number 2. You can hold multiple contradictory emotions at once. Most people experience emotions in a fairly binary way. They're happy or sad, angry or calm. But you've sat with grief and gratitude in the same breath. You've loved someone deeply while knowing they were hurting you. You've felt relief and guilt simultaneously. This is emotional complexity, and it's extraordinarily rare. Trauma forces you to hold contradiction. It breaks the simple narratives. Good people do good things. If I'm safe, I should be happy. You learn that life is layered, that people are complicated, that feelings don't follow logic, and that ability to sit in the gray zone without needing to resolve it immediately is one of the highest forms of emotional intelligence there is. Sign number 3. You have an almost eerie ability to see through people. You've been fooled before, maybe badly, and somewhere along the way, your mind built a detector. You notice when someone's words don't match their energy, when a compliment feels like a setup, when charm is being performed rather than felt. People sometimes call you suspicious or too guarded, but what they don't understand is that you're not paranoid, you're pattern literate. You've learned to trust what you feel over what you're told, and in a world full of manipulation, performance, and carefully curated personas, that's not a weakness, that's wisdom. Sign number 4. You think in systems, not just moments. When something happens to you, a conflict, a failure, a relationship ending, you don't just experience it, you analyze it. You trace it back. You ask, why did this happen? What pattern led here? What am I missing? Trauma teaches you that nothing exists in isolation. Events have causes. Behaviors have histories. People act the way they do for reasons, even when those reasons are invisible to others. This gives you a kind of strategic intelligence, the ability to see how pieces connect, how dynamics unfold over time, how systems, whether in relationships, workplaces, or society, actually function beneath the surface. You don't just see what is happening, you see why. Sign number 5. You're drawn to truth over comfort. This one might have cost you relationships. Most people prefer comfortable lies. They don't want to hear hard feedback. They avoid difficult conversations. They'll accept a beautiful story over an ugly truth every single time. But you can't do that anymore. Maybe you used to, but at some point reality forced itself on you so completely that pretending became exhausting. You'd rather know the painful truth than live inside a comfortable illusion. This makes you honest in ways that can feel blunt.
It makes you impatient with small talk and surface-level interactions, and it makes you one of the most valuable people in someone's life, if they're brave enough to let you in.
Sign number 6. You feel things more deeply than most people realize. Here's the paradox. People with traumatic intelligence often appear calm, controlled, or even detached, but inside, the volume is turned all the way up. A piece of music can break you open. A stranger's kindness can move you to tears. A scene in a film can hit you like it's about you, because in some way, it is. You feel beauty and pain with an unusual depth, and because you've learned to contain your emotions, often as a necessity, people don't always see it, but it's there. This depth is not a burden, even when it feels like one. It's the source of your creativity, your empathy, your capacity to truly connect with others who are suffering. Sign number 7. You have a high tolerance for discomfort, but zero tolerance for dishonesty. You've been through hard things. You know how to endure. Difficult conversations, uncomfortable silences, uncertain situations. These don't break you the way they break others. You've sat in much darker rooms than this. But the moment someone lies to you, minimizes, gaslights, manipulates, something in you snaps. Not necessarily outwardly, but internally, something closes. Because you've learned, often through great pain, that dishonesty is where real damage lives. Not in hardship, not in difficulty, in betrayal, in being deceived by people you trusted. So your tolerance calibrated accordingly. Endure anything except that. Sign number 8. You're always processing, even when you look fine. People assume that if you're functioning, working, laughing, showing up, you must be okay. And maybe you are okay, but underneath there is always something being turned over. Your mind rarely fully rests. You replay conversations. You work through unresolved feelings at 2 a.m. You're always somewhere slightly ahead of the present moment, preparing, analyzing, making sense of things. This is the cognitive cost of trauma, but it's also its gift. It makes you a deep thinker, a careful planner, someone who doesn't take situations at face value. The engine never quite shuts off. And while that can be exhausting, it also means you see things others miss entirely. Sign number 9. You have an unusual relationship with hope. This one is subtle. People who haven't been through trauma carry hope lightly, easily, almost carelessly. But your hope is earned. You've had hope taken from you before. You've been disappointed at a deep level. And yet, you're still here, still trying, still believing that things can be better, that people can grow, that you can grow. That kind of hope, the kind that survives disillusionment, is not naivety. It's one of the most sophisticated psychological achievements a human being can reach. It means you've stared at the worst-case scenario, let it fully land, and still chose to move forward. That is not weakness dressed up as strength. That is strength. Sign number 10. You heal people just by being present. This is perhaps the most remarkable sign of all, and the one most people with traumatic intelligence never see in themselves. Because you've been in pain, you know exactly what it feels like to not be seen, to not be heard, to sit in a room full of people and feel completely alone. And so when someone else is hurting, you don't offer platitudes, you don't try to fix them or rush them out of their feelings. You just stay. You sit with them in it. You let them feel what they need to feel without making it uncomfortable. That quality, that rare, hard-won capacity for genuine witness is healing. People walk away from conversations with you feeling understood in a way they rarely experience, and that is a gift that only suffering can give. Traumatic intelligence isn't something you chose, but it is something you built through survival, through reflection, through refusing to let what happened to you define the limit of who you could become. If you recognized yourself in these signs, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are built differently. And the world needs people built like you. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.